Hey, it's the Fort Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
And welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
Sex.
today's topic is sex dropping off at the worst possible time.
That doesn't sound hot at all.
That's lame.
That's stupid.
We might have to retitle this at some point. But this is what happens.
Yeah.
Is you have a business. Well, I think health issues are a little bit different because people truly physically don't feel well enough.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's talk about other stressors other than health that can inhibit. You can have business challenges. Your kid can be going awry. Drug habits. Kids. It causes stress with families. You can be having marital discord, between which all this stuff kind of works together.
Yeah, it does.
Financial challenges, material challenges.
Parents doing poorly or requiring a lot of your time. Sometimes elderly parents get very demanding of your time.
Or they move in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's any major life event. And I really experienced this when I was running 2 locations.
Oh my gosh.
Running up a business, in 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
When the economy was cratering and I was trying to launch a gym. And literally just sex stopped. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because what you don't want to do, and what our point is that sex stops at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
And so I was never home.
No, you were never. You couldn't have been home.
No, I'd maybe go home on weekends and just be destroyed. And then it just literally falls off.
Yeah.
And you're talking about going from a normal sex life to once every 6 weeks or so. You know what I mean? I mean, you're I forgot about it. And you're even more irritated.
Yeah.
And you don't know why. You're just irritated.
Well, yeah, because sex gives you that release and endorphins rush and all of the good things that you need in order to kind of roll with other things.
Yeah. Well, and I think what physically, and also kind of it allows people to kind of reset, and it reminds them, it's kind of like traveling. When you're under a lot of business pressure and you don't realize that if you get on a plane and you fly to another city, it's not that big of a deal. You think it's a huge deal because you're in the middle of it. And I think sex also allows people to get away from their problems.
Yeah.
Which is maybe why some people kind of abuse it to a certain extent.
Just like alcohol or
or anything.
Illicit drugs or things like that.
But just like alcohol can be used sometimes to kind of give you that much needed break.
Yeah.
So you can actually see more clearly.
Yeah.
And I noticed that with that period was when I did have sex, I was okay, this thing's not, it might actually hit the ground, who knows, but it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? It kind of resets your mind. Here's the deal that you can answer. How do you prevent that from happening? How do you prevent from getting off track?
I think the biggest factor is it's very difficult when you're going through, like you were talking about, the financial struggles, any of the life junk that gets in the way of you prioritizing sex. It's easy on the front end to say, not today, I'm not in the mood today, I just don't feel like it today. And it becomes easier and easier to pass it off until you stop thinking about it to pass off at all.
Right.
And so prioritizing it kind of sometimes, no matter the situation, and this sounds really crass, but sometimes when there's been a death in the family, you don't want to have sex, but you actually It will do everyone good to just do it. It's just like we talk about with workouts. Not every workout is going to be a gold medal winning performance. Sometimes you're going to punch the clock, so that applies to sex. When you prioritize it, and just like workouts, I don't believe that anyone should be going a day, longer than a day break between sex. Everyone has their own idea of what their consistency is, their ideal is. It depends on your energy levels, your time budget. It depends on your relationship, her sex drive, so many factors. But if it's a priority, then the stuff that tries to get in the way doesn't. Now, the problem is, men, you're running the ship. You're steering this ship, and you've got the map.
Yeah.
And we've been through a couple of different kind of phases where you were under a lot of strain. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just have to say, this is going to be a rough period of time, and, it's going to suck, but we'll get it back,
Right.
But, and in those kinds of times, you just don't operate well.
Yeah.
That's the thing, even you referring to, the time, 15 years ago now, when you were married and going through a sexual strain because of going through sexual business issues.
Yeah.
The last thing that your body's going to cooperate with is getting an erection.
Right.
It's hard to escape the thought swirls for a man. Women get lucky because all we have to do is theoretically lay there.
Show up.
Yeah. But
I see where you're coming from, too.
Yeah. If you just don't operate, if your body absolutely doesn't operate, or doesn't operate in a way that, will make you happy, because sometimes, when you're under a lot of strain, you being the universal you, not you, even if you can get an erection, you can't hold the erection. And I've been in that situation where the stress was just so high that he couldn't hold an erection because he had so many other things on his mind. But then that causes more stress.
Yeah, I could see that.
So
I could see that.
it is kind of a double-edged sword. But as long as I think the key is to remember that even breaks are just breaks.
Right.
They're very short. They're
Right.
finite. They're something that you think about every day, and if you're in the mood and you think your body will cooperate, it will make you feel better. And the more sex you have, the more sex you want to have.
Yeah.
And, you want that release. You it makes you feel better. It makes you think better. It makes you think more clearly.
I think it really helps with perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you're under a lot of pressure, be it whatever, it could be financial court or, personal problems, it gives you a chance. It's kind of like, for lack of a better phrase, more life reaffirming that this thing will pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it does give, if you can get you out of your head.
Yeah.
It lets your brain rest for a little bit,
Sure.
Because that's when people are under, it's always easy to say things when you're not in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the middle of something like that, it is all encompassing.
It is.
Maybe not forever, but for a while, and it feels like it will be forever.
It does. Yeah, for sure.
It kind of warps your sense of reality. But yeah, and what do we always say about sex? We always say if it's important, you do it every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a lot easier to maintain if you're already very consistent.
Yeah.
And you two both expect to have sex regularly. And that way you can identify when something's off, as opposed to the old school, I guess if we have some time at the end of the day, maybe tomorrow.
Well, and I think that's an important point too, that especially when you're under a great deal of stress not waiting till the end of the day, because at the end of the day you're truly destroyed.
Yeah.
If you
by far.
If you I mean, I don't think it's a good habit to wait till the end of the day for sex to begin with, because it can get taken up by other things so easily. But if that's your routine and you're going through a heavy strain period, try to have it earlier.
Perfect.
Because you're not going to have anything left at the end of the day.
No. I agree with you. And, just like you're talking about having physical problems, the more fatigued you are, the more possibility of having problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Anyway, that's a kind of a downer topic.
Don't listen to this. Just block it out and go to the next one.
No, just have sex every day. Prioritize it. Make it an important part of your life, and make sure that your partner knows that it's an important part of your life. Yeah. So that way, whenever there are times when you're not having as frequent sex, you're kind of teaming up, remembering together. It's important.
Yeah,
it's important to both of you. It's important to your connection. You argue more. You don't handle stress as well. All kinds of things when you're not having frequent sex.
Perfect.
We want you to win. Bye!